I don't want to go to the store. I hate shopping. I love online shopping, and I'm also a workaholic. So, especially on really the whole weekend. I mean, before when the sales start hitting, but my goal is to literally never go to a physical store. Although I shouldn't say that because retail is so important. But I love the challenge of having everything delivered. Just
Mm. Yeah, I'm the same way. What about you, NECA?
Absolutely, 100%. I'm always planning ahead. What am I going to get? What am I going to buy? I'm researching articles in advance to see what lists have the best stuff that I want and plan out accordingly. So last Black Friday, I actually bought a bunch of my furniture for my apartment because at that time I had just moved in late September, early October. And I was very conscientious about waiting until Black Friday to get all of the stuff that I needed for the apartment.
That's so smart.
That is so smart. Yeah.
I guess the guys don't do any shopping.
Apparently not.
Oh, I do.
I do plenty of shopping.
But I love deals too, by the way. So I do all my holiday shopping during that time period. Like I agree with Michelle. I don't want to go step foot in the stores and deal with all that mess. So I am definitely a Black Friday, Cyber Monday shopper.
Yeah, I'm all in on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I shop and I work around the clock, 24/7. So I'm on both ends of it. I also try to never spend a minute inside a retail store. I don't have any patience or time for that. But one thing that was interesting, and maybe I'll pose this question to everyone, it was interesting that I looked at last year across our whole client data set was for all the brands that you're shopping online for Black Friday and Cyber Monday, is it your first purchase with that brand? And if so, how long ago did you find out about that brand? Because the data kind of surprised me.
That is fascinating.
Yeah, I'd be interested in what that data is. I have my go-tos. I've got my go-to retailers that especially I buy a lot of clothing. I have 3 kids, and so holiday shopping is generally around clothes. That's their expectation, clothes and shoes. And so because of that, I do a lot of repeat shopping with the brands that I always use and love. But for jewelry, especially cosmetics, my girls are always introducing me to new things. There's a lot of, they're young and into all of the trends. And so there's always new brands popping up or new things that I've never heard of before. So I'd say that a good bit of my sort of smaller item purchases, if that makes sense, like little kind of filler items, are generally brands I've never heard of before. So it's kind of fun. And I like seeing what those experiences are, and especially the packaging and the unboxing and everything. Of course, I generally like to wrap up gifts for my kids, but sometimes they'll be so uniquely packaged that I just leave it in whatever it came in so that they can enjoy like the whole experience. I've seen confetti. I've seen lots of handwritten notes, especially from some of the smaller brands, which I find very clever and also just really endearing. So I like to leave some of that intact when I'm gifting.
Yeah, just jump in. I would say probably 3/4 of my purchases during that would be with brands that I'm already loyal to, and or that I know my wife is loyal to. So in the other quarter, I would say I leave open for exploration on what deals are going on, and maybe that's lightning deals or things of that nature. But that's a good question. But after thinking that through, I'd say about 3/4. How about you, NECA?
Yeah, I think for myself, aside from my furniture haul, I think I typically do shop Black Friday, Cyber Monday from brands that I follow. Either I'm following them on social media, on Instagram and TikTok, and so I'm seeing firsthand, their posts about what deals that they have going on and coming up. So I think primarily I'm shopping a lot of retail brands that I've been following for a while, or articles of clothing and things I need in my closet if I need like a wardrobe refresh that I might be saving up for, and maybe saying, hey, okay, this is on my wish list for now. Let me see what they're going to reach out with about the deals that they've got coming up, and then I'll plan accordingly.
Yeah, those are all smart tips. I would love to know, what kind of mistakes do you guys see people making when
I
approaching
didn't
Black
even get to
Friday and
divulge
Cyber
the
Monday?
data. Hold on. I was waiting for everyone to go. So, I mean, this is what really shocked me last year. I looked across all of our brands using post-purchase survey data that we use with no commerce. And for all first-time shoppers for a given brand, the two biggest audiences, I would say, in terms of how long they knew about the brand was greater than 12 months and less than 1 month. So that means the greater than 12-month people being a first-time purchaser of that brand, probably waiting for a good enough deal for a long enough amount of time, and eventually they converted over a Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And then for less than a month, it's people that are just deal shopping. So it's people that are first discovering about that brand during the month of November. And so something to take away from that. It's not just, existing customers that you're hitting. It's also customers that are, or prospects that never knew about the brand. They're just finding out and deal shopping. And it's also people that have, had the brand on their Pinterest board and were waiting for the right time to strike. So something to keep in mind.
That's so interesting, John, because it reminds me actually of there's a brand called Omnilux, which has these red light therapy face masks, and they're not cheap, but they have been on my wish list for a long time. I've never bought anything from them before. And last year I missed their Black Friday sale, but I have literally had that on my list so that in November, like that's my plan to purchase. So it's really interesting to see that different type of audience, those groups, and how they're functioning.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So that brings me to now that we did get the data. Apologies for the interruption there, John. I would love to know some Black Friday, Cyber Monday mistakes that our viewers and all of us should avoid when going into this year's shopping spree.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. I hope you have an hour. I could give a whole lecture on this. But I've seen everything. I've participated in over 10 Black Friday, Cyber Mondays already in my career. But the biggest ones, first of all, improper inventory forecasting. So like brands selling themselves too short or being too conservative with their forecast and, running out of stock literally in November or December. So you need to have that buttoned up. That's the worst thing that can destroy your whole Q4. After that, it's really when it comes down to like paid acquisition, so like creative strategy. Everyone during this time, it's totally different user behavior. This is deal shopping. So you're competing with every other brand on the internet to get the attention of the same consumers to buy their stuff right now. So from the creative perspective, half-second rule is what I call it. The consumer needs to know what the deal is within half a second of viewing that video or that creative, that image creative that you have in your ads. If it's not clear, they're not going to read between the lines. They're scrolling through their feeds. They're busy Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend, and they're just deal shopping. So it's not clear. They're not going to go to your website or take a minute to go look at your creative and read between the lines. It needs to hit them right in the face. So it's the half-second rule. Same thing goes for email creative. Then the sale needs to be apparent on the website. So we'll go back to the paid acquisition. So like Facebook ads. Say you're running Facebook ads, and in your ad it says 25% off, using such and such coupon, or 25% off added to cart. When someone clicks through that ad and they get on, let's say, a landing page exclusive to Black Friday shoppers, or let's say they get to a product page, I can't tell you how many times brands only have the offer on the homepage. So they're getting sent right to the product page. It has no verbiage around the sale that they just saw a whole thing about in the ads. That was the reason why they clicked. They're not going to go to the homepage, start fishing around for that code. They're not going to go back to Facebook to go find that discount code. And then also, let's say a brand does make it clear on the website, on the product page. Let's say the landing page, they land on a product page, and it does say, 25% off flash sale. But if it doesn't say if that discount code that they would need to apply in the cart right there, and let's say they get to the cart and there's nowhere for them to apply that discount code, then when they get to checkout, if that verbiage right there, that discount code is not clear in checkout, you have to custom code your checkout to say like, use discount code 25 off to get 25% off. They're going to forget it. They're going to bounce. You lost a sale. I can't tell you how many times that this happens. Actually, probably easily greater than 50% of brands fail at this exact thing that I'm saying. And if it's a manual code, be clear about that. If it's auto applied in the cart when you add something to cart, that verbiage needs to be there on that product page. Custom code it right under that product title. 25% off automatically applied once you add to cart, so that people are like, oh, okay, now I see the discount code applied. So you have to be critically clear about that, the copy throughout the funnel, throughout the user journey. Go through it yourself. After that, I would say probably urgency. So once again, like not being clear when the sale ends. So if this is a Black Friday sale and it expires at midnight, but you don't write that with have like a countdown timer on the product page or a sticky banner on the website, people are going to think that they have, until Monday to convert. And guess what? Monday comes around and they got distracted by 20 other brands. They never came back to purchase. So if they see a countdown timer, they know that they have to act now. So urgency is a big one. Let me think. Do I have anything else? I would say another thing is agility. So being able to pivot quickly. If you see that your Black Friday is not pacing as it did in years prior, or you're way off your goals, you need to pivot the offer. So have a backup offer. Let's just say your Black Friday deal was 40% off, didn't really hit. Now you have Saturday, you should be pivoting. You shouldn't just hope that it's going to get better the next day or the following day. Have backup offers that you can run and have customized offers for different parts of your audience. So email marketing, SMS is huge. You can segment your audiences based on, people that are engaged subscribers but have never purchased. You have your VIP people that have purchased 5+ times, from your store. You can have different offers to different people. If you know someone is opening all your emails and they still have never purchased from the brand, probably means that they're priced out and this is like an aspirational deal or an aspirational brand for them. So give them a better deal that's only going to their email inbox, and have that email that they get auto apply a certain discount code that's hidden on the website. No one else can use it. It's only auto applied by clicking through that email. 100 different ways that you can splice and dice this stuff, but you need to think about it really granularly and have a plan going into Black Friday, Cyber Monday. If you don't have that plan, you don't have a forecast, then you're never going to be able to pivot. That was a lot, but I could keep going if we have time now.
No, that was good. And you kind of made me think of some things too, John. But I would say that probably from our perspective at Shopify, one of the biggest mistakes that we see brands do is not getting started now on SEO. Because as you know, SEO can take, 3 to 6 months to really materialize. So you need to start publishing SEO content now. There's, tips on maximizing SEO. So incorporating quantitative data, statistics, things along those lines. Another thing is relevant quotes from credible sources. So this would help, enhance the authority and relevance of the content, which is, driving up the SEO value. Readability is huge. Like John mentioned, the half-second rule, simplifying complex sentences in your content using active voice. This is where AI can come in really handy. So one of the things that we released at Shopify just recently was our Shopify Magic and Sidekick. So for anyone on Shopify, if you're going to be launching lots of new products, collections, promos, etc., before BFCM, one of the things that we're helping hopefully ease the burden on your merchandising teams is using Sidekick to automatically generate new product descriptions for one. So if you're not feeling creative, use the Sidekick. Just share a few keywords, and then Shopify Magic's going to be filling in the rest. And then it does learn and grow with you as artificial intelligence does. It recognizes the tone that your brand already uses in all of your other content. And we've heard some of our clients have said that it was a huge game changer just from a time saving perspective to help get that content produced. But I would say getting started on SEO right now is going to be a something that you need to do. If you don't, it's a big mistake. Johnny, any ideas of things that are terrible mistakes?
Sure, plenty. There's many common mistakes we see brands make during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. One big thing would be the friction between the ad to site offer experience. So if I see an ad for a promotion and that isn't consistently being translated on the landing page or the product page, like John mentioned, that inconsistency can add friction in the process because we don't want to make them hunt. They have a million other things that they're scanning through and competing with their attention around. And we definitely don't want them to feel like they have to leave to go find a coupon code. 32% of online shoppers will leave a retail website to look for a discount code. And if we are running a promotion during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we need that to be clear, letting them know how to apply that code and keeping that, top of mind. In fact, we actually, for a rental car company, we have a case study where we implemented a discount code where you would enter that in. This isn't actually during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but year round. We added a little see available coupon codes link that would just open up, some of the general ones that they had available. And just by implementing that increased revenue by over $1 million per month, just with eliminating people that were leaving and bouncing on those pages. Because, at the end of the day, we want to eliminate as much friction as possible to make that experience easy for people to check out. And lastly, I agree about the insufficient stock management. Actually, this is a Shopify stat, but 80% of people are less likely to buy from a brand ever again if one of their products they were looking for was unavailable. Just how damaging that can be, right? And so by mismanaging how you're planning your promotions and your inventory, that could lead to lost sales, but also lost damage reputation. So something to definitely keep in mind for brands during that time period. How about you, Neka?
Yeah, wow. I think there's quite a few mistakes people make, and all of you have offered so many good insights already. To your point, Johnny, about the different reputational hits that can occur when you don't have inventory, or, John, when there's an issue with your checkout code and happening, that stuff does directly impact long-term reputation. I don't know if any of you remember, there was a few years ago, I think it was, when I want to say one of the streamers, I think it was Hulu, had some sort of 99 cents promo going on, and a bunch of people all tried to purchase it, but then they were having issues. It glitched out. They couldn't do it. Folks took to Twitter. They were fuming. And it ended up actually kind of becoming a bit of a moment for the brand. And so it's so important to have your PR strategy also really aligned with all of the other digital channels and the efforts that are going on behind the scenes, and your social team. Making sure that you have a game plan and a point person as well to kind of front run any crisis if something does somehow blow into a reputational issue. And then some other things that folks maybe don't think of. Michelle mentioned acting really fast when it comes to having your social and your SEO team ready. The same thing applies for having your PR team. If you don't already have a public relations strategy, a media strategy for Black Friday, Cyber Monday as a brand, it's already, it's August, you're already kind of too late. You really have to start pulling those levers now. It's no surprise to, I think, anybody that the holiday season is a highly competitive time for pitching stories, pitching news. And so given the volume of products that are launched during this time and brands that are competing for airtime, it's very important to offer the right, reporters or the right influencers access to your products early on so that they have time to pre-promote and familiarize themselves with it, and send out your press kits in advance. A lot of easy mistakes that folks make is just not getting their stuff out to the right folks and in their hands with enough lead time. And then they're kind of already behind the curve quite a bit. But get folks familiarized with your products so that they can then evangelize your stuff. And if you don't do that, you're missing out on key reputational opportunities.
Yeah, those are all great insights. Thank you all for sharing those. On the flip side of that coin, is there any top tips or tricks that our viewers should know about?
The main there's a lot of tips and tricks, but I mean the main thing is just preparing now, being ahead of the curve. You cannot wait until October to plan your November. If you haven't even started planning your Black Friday deals and inventory levels now, you're already behind, so you got to get to it. You need to set new performance goals. Keep in mind, when you are discounting retail price on your website, your margins change. So you have to recalculate your blended CAC or your blended return on ad spend to account for that margin shrinkage. So if you forget to I can't tell you how many brands have had miserable Q4s that I've heard stories of that come into us the next year. We hear about what happened the last year on Black Friday. They forgot to change their return on ad spend goals. They thought their revenue was great, but they lost money. They had no profit because they forgot to change their target ROAS of 2 to a 1 point or a 2.5, right? So you have to keep that in mind, recalculate everything. Scaling is great, but you need to do it smart. So profit is always better than revenue. Think about that as a brand. Everyone gets, like these big revenue goals, and that's not what's most important. You should have a bigger profit goal. So if it means that you have, a 10% increase in revenue, but a 50% increase in profit one year, that's a great situation, in my opinion. Better than the flip side. Outside of that, I would say another thing that you have to keep in mind, and you need to get on this right now, is alerting your credit card providers that you're going to have an increase in expenses during those key months. Not just credit card providers, because you're going to have an increase in ad spend and all that kind of stuff, but every ad account, especially Facebook. So there's a daily spend cap. Not many brands know about this until they hit it, meaning like Facebook sets a limit how much you can spend each day on their ad account, on your ad account. If you don't request that increase at least a month in advance, and I would recommend increasing that daily spend cap by at least 10x of what it currently is. Remember, you don't have to spend all of it, but it's good to have that possibility if you see a good scaling opportunity. And typically when you submit these requests, sometimes it takes a week to get them approved. I've seen brands come into Black Friday, they hit their daily spend cap, and a week later, Facebook is finally like, oh, we approved your spend cap increase. And well, they just lost the whole window to actually spend the money. So that's a critical failure that I see happen way too often. It happens every year to big brands, like brands you won't even think of would have these issues. Outside of that, you got to make sure the inventory levels. Create your Black Friday, Cyber Monday as like your website is a different theme. You should not be updating any website live. That's just a recipe for disaster. So have your whole theme, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, scheduled, have it built out ahead of time, and then it goes live immediately once your sale goes live. So you're not scrambling at midnight the morning of Black Friday.
Yeah. One of the things that Shopify is talking about a lot is the whole concept of hyper personalization. And it's so funny. I was at dinner with friends the other day, and no, we don't always just sit around and talk about commerce, but it does come up a lot. We were talking about like getting the emails that just say, hello, Michelle, you might like this. It's completely irrelevant, has nothing to do with me. And it's like the only thing that the brand did was insert my first name into email message. And that's just an example, but you see this all the time. So what's important to do now is think about all the different data sources that you have access to, where all the different surfaces, the channels, tie all that together and try to come up. And John had some great ideas too around marketing to specific groups, really specific audiences. Just hyper personalize as much as possible. And if you're a retailer, if you have brick and mortar sales and online sales, if there is a way to tie that together so that the one customer, me, that's buying certain things in the store, in the brick and mortar store, also things online, you can market to me in a really intelligent way. So that's sort of that retail personalization, hyper personalization. Shopify also has the audiences, which if you're not familiar with that, essentially it's a collective, it's an opt-in collective consortium of data that is totally anonymized. So not sharing any sort of specific data between Shopify clients and another Shopify client, but everyone benefits. So it can serve up to your channels high intent buyers. So for example, if I, as a consumer, just bought a tennis racket, perhaps there is another Shopify brand that sells tennis apparel and could serve me ads around tennis apparel, knowing that I bought a tennis racket. It's kind of a silly example, but just to show like the value of serving ads, making the most of your media buys by putting that media and content in front of high intent buyers. And then it's also, another benefit is lowered cost of customer acquisition, potentially to these brand new brands that 25% roughly first time purchases during BFCM on a first time brand that you've never shopped before. So just some ideas there.
I just had a good idea for Shopify audiences. They should create a
Okay.
Black Friday, Cyber Monday, like deal shopper audience for each category. So if like for myself, I buy a lot of like skincare stuff, so I could like test different like that's different user behavior than like my user like shopping behavior throughout the year. So they should overlay people that are like the highest spend for certain categories for that given month. That's
You
a great idea.
Yeah, that is a good idea. It kind of reminds me of shop campaigns slightly. But yeah, you could probably, I mean, you know everything about Shopify, so you could probably get in there and maybe see if you can invent that. Otherwise,
Yeah.
maybe get in touch with
Yeah.
Shopify with your idea.
Oh no, we're in touch. Yeah, I talk to the Shopify audiences team pretty frequently. We have a shared Slack channel right now,
Oh,
so
awesome. Right
I'll
on.
let them know my idea if they don't listen to this podcast.
Yes. I'll try to influence that somehow.
Sounds like a plan.
I think some other key things brands need to prepare for in advance of Black Friday and Cyber Monday is really optimizing their website for high traffic. In fact, we have a theme park that we've worked with, and one of the first years we were assisting with them and as their marketing partner, they were hosting their website with a local server, and we had been urging them to move providers, and sure enough, there was no stress testing done, and during that peak period during our Black Friday Cyber Monday sale, their entire website crashed. It was down for at least 12 hours. So you have to take this time period very seriously about making sure that your website can host the volume of traffic that's going to support your sales targets, and also your mobile usability. Over 54% of Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales are going to happen on mobile, right? So you have to make sure that that experience is seamless, it's flawless, and it's highly performant. And lastly, I'd say preparing your customer support. So expect more questions, more volume. Make sure they understand what the promotions are, so that they can really be there for your audience and your customers. Just because we really want to make sure that that brand is holistically presenting itself aligned around that promotion and around serving the customers the best they can.
Yeah, I'm a brutal consumer, and I would say that you have collectively brought up just about every pain point that I've had as a buyer online. There is nothing more frustrating than not being able to get a hold of customer service.
Yeah.
That I think it's a brand tarnisher, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And especially the ones where you have to fill out a form and then they get back to you later. That doesn't do it. You got to have that real time live chat experience. So
Yeah. NECA, do you have anything else to add on this topic?
And the one thing I'll say is just goes back to, the main tip of making sure that your PR strategy is in line with your digital SEO and other efforts across all of your platforms. For example, last Black Friday, we had one of our clients at the time, Price.com, which is an all-in-one savings platform, partner with Tim Tebow and Demi Tebow to showcase to shoppers how they could save money while checking off their holiday shopping lists and still giving back to over 200,000 vetted charities. Price offers cash back exclusive coupon codes. And so when we're talking about, getting the coupon codes and, facilitating user shopping experiences, getting creative with opportunities like that, opportunities to get folks excited about shopping, and also playing into, your audience. If you have an audience of users who are really thoughtful about giving back and they want to know, where some of their money is going, they want to know that it's going to something positive. There are ways to be really thoughtful about your communication strategies so that it is amplifying and pushing forward your commerce efforts. We ended up getting that spot on Fox and Friends and the Good Morning America show as well to talk about those efforts. So it's really a good example of the ways PR and digital work together to create that influence across all of your different channels.